Man goes to the doctor. Says he's feeling depressed. Says he feels alone in a world that is threatening and cruel, where everything that lies ahead is vague and uncertain. Doctor says the treatment is simple. The great clown Pagliacci is in town tonight. Go see him. That'll pick you up. Then the man bursts into tears and says, "But doctor, I'm Pagliacci." Welcome to the voice of the Fat Mantis. I am the Fat Mantis. Who watches The Watchmen? I'll tell you who watches The Watchmen. This guy right here. You're watching the review of episode 2 of The Watchmen, the Marshall Feach of Comanche writers. Here we go. My Watchmen episode 2 review goes as follows. I absolutely loved it. It created all these questions and other things that are probing your mind as usual, as Lindelof does. It came even closer to a Watchmen sequel as we were expecting. I love that they brought in Joe Keane. You probably saw him for just a second, but he is the grandson of the man who banned superheroes, the senator. I love that they brought back the newspaper men talking about it, talking about the conspiracies, particularly about the raining squids, and I love that they have connected these episodes to our modern issues, just like the original Watchmen was so tied into issues that were going on in 1986, such as ultra-conservatism and recession. Give it a whopping 95. What did you guys think about it? Please let me know. Things that we have no idea what's going on, but we should keep an eye out. First one is with Will, our buddy Will over here. What are those pills which he claims are from memory? They even went to the point of having a double focus. He's unfocused and the pills are unfocused, and they're pointing out this is something to remember. Is it fixing his memory? Does it give him superpowers? What is up with this chick right here? This little Asian girl who's buying the newspapers? That is leading to something. Whoever her boss is or whatever she's up to, it doesn't seem like it's Vite because he seems to just hang out with white English clones. So I don't know what that is either. So let's go on. Now this gentleman right here, this is the grandfather of the children that Angela is taking care of while she has raised as her own children, her dead partner's kids. And I think that not only does he clearly seem like a white supremacist, I think it's very clear that he has visitation rights. The question is, what is his important to the story and what is going on there? Matches up to what happened at the end of the episode when Angela is able to acquire the KKK uniform that she got out of her former chief's closet. And I think that what it is they're kind of showing that there is an air of white supremacy that is corrupted within the police force. There's something wrong with the police force because she may have loved her partner, but it is clear that he was raised by someone with white supremacist ideas. And that's who these poor kids would have been raised by, had she not stepped in and be like, I want to take over the kids. So these are all things we need to point out. Right now, I want to get into exactly the main theory of what everyone's talking about. Who is Will? And I feel like the answers have been dropped in the very episode that he appeared in. So the first source we're going to go in and we're going to talk about what's going on here. And the first sources I'm going to use is our main book, The Watchmen by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, Hugo Award winning. In it talks about our man Hooded Justice. He is mentioned in a moment in the Hollis Mason autobiography about his life as a Minuteman and a teammate of him, and he states he never took off his mask. No one ever knew exactly what he was or what he was about. However, there was a death of Rolf Muller, who was a circus strongman who was shot in the head, and shortly after his disappearance, Hooded Justice vanished as well. So that's all he puts in The Watchmen. It's just this little blurb. It's this small part. No one focuses on it at all, and we move on with our lives. Next part of canon, if you will. So it is before Watchmen. These are tales of Watchmen and characters before, particularly the Minuteman one. And look who's on the cover right here. This is Darwin Cook and Amanda Connors, and a very good book. They're not all great. No, not all the before Watchmen are great, but this particular one is amazing. I would check it out. They go into the Rolf Muller and who this, German circus man is, and in truth, Hollis Mason lied. Now, a point of the limited series about the Minuteman is that not everything that's in behind the hood or under the hood that Hollis Mason wrote is correct. He had to change certain facts in order not to scandalize his friends and their criminal activities they may have engaged in while being superheroes. He was willing to give it all up, and his friends convinced him, do not do a tell-all book. One of the things is the Minutemen are responsible for killing Rolf Mueller, and that he was actually a child murderer and pornographer of children. He was a scumbag, and they murdered him. And then after Hooded Justice left, he decided to mix both stories together so that people would be taken off the hint of the truth of Rolf Mueller. So even though, you know, what it is American Hero Story gets the belief that Rolf Mueller is the man in question. He is Hooded Justice. They got that idea from Hollis Mason, who canonically was actually lying. Our final and third activities we gotta talk about is our very show that we're watching right now. Now, it would appear as if they point out how white this gentleman is. He's got, you know, white around his eyes when the camera looks right into his face. He seems like a white man, and they seem very sure of who he is. But my suggestion to you, as I pointed out to the super strength pills, possibly Will, I think that he might be Will, and I'm certainly not the only person who said that. I'm sure you've heard this around the internet. I mean, I was talking to one of our viewers, Roxy and M, the night after it aired, and we were talking about it, and she pointed out, she was like, it would also make more sense because it gives more meaning to the noose he hangs around his neck. So the show has a theme of fighting white supremacists. This would make complete and utter sense. That not only, since Hooded Justice was the inspiration of all superheroes back in the 30s, but also was a major one. He wears a black hood, which is the opposite of our white hooded Ku Klux Klan men, but also had the noose because he's fighting for everyone who has ever lynched before. Now, it is obvious that Will and Will's story, as we're seeing in all these flashbacks, as he's clearly going to be a superhero, watching those superhero sheriff and all these other gimmicks going on. You know, his father was a very very woke for the time individual, and he was raised in that, and he's always going to be trying to uphold the law. It would only make sense that his granddaughter would eventually also be a masked crime fighter. So there you have it. I am stating definitively that I think there is enough evidence to suggest that he actually is Hooded Justice. Another weird thing that's interesting to say is that Hooded Justice is also, it is believed that he had a homosexual affair with Captain Metropolis back in the day. Now, whether this is hearsay or truth, I'm not sure if it is confirmed or not, because Hollis Mason talks about it, but Hollis Mason was not present for some of those scenes Darlene Cook or some other people put in the comic books. That's also, once again, as in the canonical original Watchmen graphic novel, is not, it is hinted upon and not actually, is not hammered down. I think there's another important theory that needs to be discussed right here, and it is, how did Angela survive the White Knight? Now, we saw it. She is a very capable fighter in it. You know, in this flashback, it's Christmas Eve. She is very competent martial artist. Your skills only last so long when two people have shotguns, and she gets blasted, and it looks like she's about to die, and they cut away. No, I have two very weird possible thoughts about this on this. Furthering the theory that Will is a superhuman or capable of superhuman feats, particularly with those pills. Maybe he entered the house and he saved her from the incident at home, at large. My other theory is it is possible that Don Johnson's character, the chief of police that loves her so much, he was possibly one of the gunmen. So we know that now that we know that he had a KKK mask and gear, that he was part of a possibly white supremacist, and it is possible that he was working with the 7th Cavalry at the time. And I think it's possible he could have been our second gunman, and he's grown a liking to her, and he was about to execute her, and he just couldn't do it. Unless, once again, this is a Lindelof show, so it could take random sharp left turns. Like, it could be Dr. Manhattan flying down or something like that. Or her child could have psychic powers or something strange. But honestly, I think that these are two most founded, most grounded thoughts on it. I love you all. I hope you have an amazing one. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And love each other. Live the dream.